Hi and welcome back to the workshop at Maroondah Secondary. My name is Miss Fechner, and in this session I'd like to take you through how to use this tool here, which is called a biscuit jointer. When we start using power tools in the workshop, it's common practice that we have a look at one of these sheets, which is called a safe work procedures sheet. It's really important that you read through the procedures on one of these sheets and have a look at what sort of hazards may be applicable to this type of machinery. Also on here you'll find what sort of PPE you'll need to use and wear to keep yourself safe while using this type of piece of equipment. And by PPE I mean personal protective equipment. So for something like this, of course, we need to use appropriate footwear, and we also need eye protection. We may also need hearing protection. The great thing about using a biscuit jointer is there's not a lot of marking out that we need to do. A biscuit jointer is great for when we want to join two pieces of timber together in, say, a widening joint. We can use it for other types of joinery, but it's not as strong as, say, a dowel or doing a mortise and tenon. But definitely when we're doing widening joints, it's perfect for that. So what the biscuit jointer does, it creates a slot in the timber, and then we put these little biscuits in there. And of course with glue and clamps, you get a really strong joint. The biscuits come in a few different sizes, so size 20, size 0 and size 10. 20 being the largest, 10 being the next size down, which is actually, that one's in me mucked up, and that's the 0, so it can be quite small. For something like a top, then we'd probably use the 20s. We don't use the 0s very much, they're a lot smaller, so 20s or 10s are the usual size we use. So we'll have a little bit of a look at the biscuit jointer. Of course, we've got a handle up the front, and usually it's just nice and neat to have the other second hand at the back, on-off switch on the side. Really important with most pieces of power equipment that we use an extension cord as well on the lead to give us a little bit of leeway on the cord. All the settings are up the front. We have a small fence that we can raise up and down, and we do that by unlocking the fence and then moving it up and down. There's a little ruler on the side here, so you can choose the depth that you want for your cut. One thing though, they've been very smart when they've made this tool. They've actually set the first depth of the cut at halfway of a 19mm thick piece of timber, because that's pretty standard in industry. So if you're using 19mm thick timber, which a lot of the pine is, then all you need to do is to have this part of the tool on a solid surface, and it will come out at the depth that you need it to be, halfway along the timber. So we've set the depth, and the only other marking out we need to do is where we're going to put our biscuits on our piece of timber, and we just need a piece of marking across that we're going to see through this little slot here. The only other setting we really need to do for this piece of machinery is here on the side to choose our size of our biscuit. So we're going to use size 20s or 10s for this type of job when we're just joining two pieces of timber together. So we just need to choose that, and that's already set. It'll just allow the blade, which comes out from the bottom there, I don't know if you can see. Now this isn't turned on, I haven't even plugged it in because I'm handling this piece of machinery and touching the blade. So that blade only comes out when we push against a piece of timber. So it's a really, really safe tool to use. If we have a look at how big our biscuits are, we want to put them out pretty close to the edge, but we definitely don't want the slot that the biscuit jointer is going to cut to be shown at the edge. So we just set them back a little bit and even them out. Probably one along there and one along there. So I can literally, by hand. Okay, so that's all the marking out I need to do, is to have the two lines and then cut my biscuit. I need to be pushing up against something, so I'm going to use some bench hooks. Okay, I'm going to turn my biscuit jointer on and cut my slots for my biscuits. Just going to line up my pencil marks through here. The other thing that I see as being really important is that you don't have the machine on an angle, and that we come in nice and clean and have this plate nice and flat. Okay, so my machine's all set, the depth is locked off. I've set my biscuit, the size of my biscuit, so I'll turn my machine on. So let's cut those two slots with the biscuit. I can just clean that out. Make sure I've got no waste left in there. I'll cut my second lot of holes and then we can put it together. See, when that machine's running, that blade isn't exposed at all. So really, really safe tool to use. And as you can see, it's very quick. Just clean out any waste. Move my bench hooks to the side. And there we have a widening joint.